Hi, welcome to part 3 of the case mod radiator pump loop kind of build that I'm doing. The computer's set up, I'm recording on it right now, but pretty much we set up a loop, we didn't like it, we set it up again, we didn't like it, we bought 2 new radiators, we bought a new pump, we bought a new water block, so it's a completely new loop at this point. We threw it all in there and then we ran into some issues, so I'm going to get into that in the video. But first, I'm going to show you the old pump, the new one I bought, and the old loop I was using, which was 2 CLCs I had spliced together. All right, so we have the 240 and the 280 and the 240 out of the system right now. And I want to just demonstrate how loud this pump is. We've already tested this one. This is a freeze mod pump, which is kind of hard to see, but it's a freeze mod. This is a $70 pump. This was a $50 pump. I bought both of these off Amazon because the only pumps I could find were about $150 or $200 a piece, and I don't want to spend that much. So this one I tested already, so you can see it's got some water in it. It was very, very quiet, almost silent. This pump we shall demonstrate on how absolutely loud this thing is. There are no fans plugged in. This is just pump vibration. It is vibrating the table a little bit. It's suspended off tubes, so it's floating in the air, but it's so loud. And it vibrates so much. I'm gonna see if there's a clog somewhere when I remove this loop, but I don't think there's a clog in it. I think it's just that loud, but I'll let you know. Alright, now let's take this off and see if there's any weird clogs in it. This is the only part that we're going to be reusing on the whole loop, so we might as well check it. Alright, well, that's what the inside of this looks like. It's just plastic. I guess this piece comes out. Just a little water channel so that the water flows in the correct way. And there is actually a clog. So as you can see here, well, maybe if the camera picks it up. Focus camera, focus. Apparently it won't focus that close in video mode, but yeah, there is a bunch of little hard, crappy pieces in it, so there indeed was a clog. Yeah, that's kind of a better picture. Not a big clog. I don't know exactly where this was, but we're gonna clean this out, put it back together. And hopefully when we get the new radiators, we have nice cool temperatures. Alright, we have some of our loops set up. We got new fittings on the end, the tubes are set up. Got it running somewhat normal, but I did run into a problem. I wanted to put the video card in, make sure that it cleared this, but what it doesn't clear is this radiator here. So, as you can see, maybe, kind of, wow, the video card literally just fell out. It hits the radiator, it doesn't allow it to snap in. So what we're going to do is not let that fall out again, because that was pretty lame. That's as far in as it will go. We're going to make a Sharpie line on the top and the bottom, and we're gonna cut this shroud out. There's a lot of space behind here, and I don't need that much more space to get it in. To cut right there and somewhere over here. I'm just going to pick the longest one. Pretty much these two. Just cut them right off. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt my soul to do it because I just bought this thing, but it's my only option. Or I return it and wait another like week, and I don't want to do that. So off we go. modified radiator. Now we got to see if the video card goes in. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Should very easily be able to, but we got that plugged in there. We got this in there. Alright. There we go. And we even have a little bit, let's get that tube out of the way. We have a little bit of extra space too, so it's not even touching the video card. I definitely cut out a little bit of extra, but that's what I kind of wanted. On the bottom, same thing, a little bit of extra cut out, but that's what I wanted. We're good to go. We can now finish this loop up, bleed the system, and have a working computer. So here we are with our finished product. I ended up changing a couple things. This is a 120 millimeter fan. These are 240 millimeter fans. They aren't actually screwed in, but they are in there nice and secure. They blow lots of air, which is good. This pump, very silent. I've been running it for a couple days, no issues at all. The tubing does kink, like I had shown in a previous video, so we ended up making a big loop instead of just a short little one, just to prevent it from kinking. Kind of the same with this, a little bit extra, just so it doesn't kink. And right now it's actually very good, zero kinks, good water flow. We did end up taking this apart a second time and seeing if there's anything in it, because it was running very warm. It was getting into the 90s, and there were like probably a couple hundred little metal shavings in this. I didn't take a video of it or record it because I was holding the pump and it was dripping water, and I just had to set stuff down and do it quickly or risk getting water over the system. So unfortunately I don't have a video of that. But now that this has been running for a couple days, I'm going to take this apart one more time. I'm going to see if there's any more metal shavings in there. If there are, I'm going to clean them out. And yeah, if there are, we're probably going to have to repeat this process like every month or couple of months until I get all the metal shavings out of it. This being the smallest point in the radiator, this is where everything's going to get clogged. I'm hoping it's pretty clean. I have a feeling there's going to be a couple metal shavings in there, but we're going to set this on the side. We're going to take it apart. We're going to see what's inside. I think I'll bring it out to the garage so I can give you guys the overhead look of it and not the table look. But alright, so I'm going to use this time to talk about what I've done. Try to actually get this part off of there. So we had the loop set up. We had it running. It was a little warm, but it was okay at first. And we ended up taking our voltage and dropping it. So we were running at the maximum we ran at was 4.5 volts at 4.8 gigahertz. So trying to think of all this off the top of my head because I didn't write it down. So it was running pretty toasty, you know. That's pushing it a little rough. If I lowered the voltage, it would be unstable and it would freeze. It would freeze the programs, not the whole entire system, so it was barely unstable, but you know, stability is important. So we ended up dropping it down to 4.7 gigahertz and about 3.3 volts, and that was running very good. So that was how I was running the old loop with the two CLCs. And it ran good for like a day, and then the temperature spiked up like 20 degrees just out of nowhere, so I was a little concerned about what was going on. And that's when I decided just to take everything apart and see if there's a clog somewhere. Once we got the system all set up and we put the new thermal paste on there and got everything nice and looped and no air bubbles left in it, we ended up having it run at 3.3 volts at 4.6 for quite a while, but it was still getting into the 90s. If I did a Cinebench score on it just to heat it up, it would hit 90s after about 5 or 6 minutes. So we dropped it down again to 4.5 and about 1.23 volts, somewhere around there. We did mess around with it a little bit, and that dropped the temperature drastically. So that's where we have it set to right now. there is a little bit of junk in there. Not too bad. Actually, it's not bad at all. That's a good sign. We're still going to clean it out, but we got this little piece. You can kind of see, I don't know if the camera picks it up, the little floaties there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just pour this out right over that so it drips right in that case. There we go. There's still a bunch of little floaties in there, but we're gonna have to come back with a Q-tip, get that cleaned up. Oh yeah, there's lots of junk in there. All right, not as well as I thought it would be. It just wasn't all stuck in there. It must have floated out by me picking up the case. Here, I'll try to show it. So we have, let's see if I can get some of this out. If you see in here, these are not water bubbles. Hopefully the camera picks this up. These are all metal shavings down here. All these tiny little pieces. There's no way you're going to see them on my glove. So, unfortunate, but I was really hoping there wouldn't be any more metal shavings in this. I must have done a very bad job cleaning out the loops. I did run a reverse osmosis water through these loops. Oh yeah, I can see this tube is just completely full. Oh, that sucks. So I guess what I'm going to end up doing is draining this loop a little bit. I think I'm going to turn the pump on. I don't feel comfortable setting it against my video card, but it's going to sit there for now. We're going to turn the pump on. I'm going to blow out some of this. I'm going to take the video card out, clean up some of this little bit of mess I made, and we'll go from there. Here, let me show you guys. This down here, that right here, that's not part of that. That's what I was talking about. Metal shavings in the loop. That's exactly what I'm trying to get out of the loop. I guess my best option is to just say screw this fluid. Alright, so I have the pump out, drained a little bit out there. There's still a bunch in here. I got a clip on this. Let's turn on the power supply for a second. There we go. It's about as much as I'm going to get out of that. And now I have the question of, do I reuse this water? I can see metal floaties in it still. Or do I just go full reverse osmosis water? I'm not 100% sure what to do. I think I'm going to try to get more fluid in here. And it'll get done. It'll get the air bubbles out. Slowly but surely. As you can see, the pump definitely moves a decent flow of water. But we're gonna have to figure out a way to hook up a tube to this or something so that we can set a bucket up here or something up top here, just fill it full of distilled water and just let it cycle it all through. I'm gonna need to cycle through a lot of water, I think. I'll figure something out. Alright, so I was flushing out my loop. I had this filled up completely, and you can see lots of crap came out. All this junk came out of the loop. I completely cleaned the sink before I started too, so every little speckle you see, the exception of maybe that hair. But every little speckle you see is from the loop. We're gonna fill this back up. We're gonna run some more clean water through it, see if we can get more crap out after we rinse out all this other junk that's in there. And maybe we'll finally have a clean loop. Alright, so I have this little camping coffee cup and a beer cup. I'm going to try to filter out my coolant. Now I would just not really care, and I would just go buy more coolant, but unfortunately I can't get any because it's like 2 in the morning. So because I have nothing better to do, we're going to try filtering this out. I have no idea how this will work. I hope I can pour this without it dripping everywhere. Actually, that's not half bad. I might filter this out a couple times. That's going a lot quicker than I thought it would. Not that bad. Sorry about the shaky camera. This is as steady as my hand gets, apparently. Not bad at all. One more time. But first, we need a good place to put this. And I can actually see a little dot in there. Might have been a bubble. Alright, drink up. Alright, we are at the end of the video. I know it's kind of disoriented and I end up cropping out about, 40 minutes worth of footage because it was just kind of redundant and I had done so many things. So I gave you the best of what I had. It wasn't very good. I am definitely going to need to do some better work on figuring out how to create a video rather than just being like, oh, let's just do it and pull out my phone. Maybe we make a script in the future and actually think out what we're gonna say before we say it instead of rambling. But either way, that's the end of this video. We're done and I can show you the results right here. As you can see, up here, we're getting a maximum of 72. So that's not bad at all compared to what it was getting, which was maxing out at 90. So a drop of 30 Celsius roughly. That's very good. Right now we're sitting at 56. We are recording with our CPU. We are using, it's spiking around, not too much, using around 24%. We're still sitting at 4.5. We might fluctuate that and try to move it up to 4.6 and up the voltage and see how hot everything gets. The chip is a little weird with stability. It's like, put it at 4.5. It's fine. I could probably even lower the voltage slightly more, put it at 4.6, and it's like I have to up it like a lot. I have to up it like 0.2 volts, and that's pushing me into like the 80s. So I can't really seem to get it to be around the 70 high, like the low 80s, high 70s. Because keep in mind, I'm not going to keep my CPU at 100% all the time. It's a very, very rare occurrence. But with some games and also streaming, which uses about this much because my recording settings are the same as my streaming settings, it's roughly hitting about 50, 60. So this is a pretty accurate temperature gauge. 72 seems to be my max. It had been running for like 10 or 20 minutes by the time I reached this. So, you know, I'm okay with that. But yeah, that is what it is. The loop is complete. I'll show a little video or a couple pictures of what I have set up. It's just sitting against my wall, so you know, there's nothing too special about it. It is on the outside of this wall. I don't look at it. I kind of like it, so like I kind of wish I could look at it, but you know, not a huge deal. But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you thought it was stupid, which it kind of was, you can give it a thumbs down if you wish. You can subscribe if you want, join the Discord, join the Twitch. You know, we'd like to have you around. Take care.